I don't necessarily think of me as like a game changer, but I'm just feeling so honored. And, the fact that we wrote the show in two languages and people are appreciating that, it just means a lot to me.
This was our first original show. So the first show we wrote was actually an adaptation of a movie. But then because of that, because it went well, we had the opportunity to sort of pick our first original project. And yeah, this one sort of, it was Hugh's idea and it jumped out at us.
Yeah, at the time it was, possibly the most personal topic that we would want to write together. I was going through some, personal like rough times. Like, I had just lost a friend, from cancer, and I was getting out of a long-term relationship. So I was like, why do I keep doing this? Like signing up for like heartbreaks. If I didn't try to become, close with them, then I wouldn't have been like heartbroken like this. But, at the same time, it was just what it means to be human, right? We always are longing for real connection. So it was very natural for us to pick that subject matter as our first, original story that we wrote together.
Yeah, and one thing that's come up when people ask us about our process, I think that in every case, we try to find things that we're both extremely excited about and feel very have strong personal feelings about, especially because we are both writers. We both are book writers. And then in our mutual countries, we work on the lyrics. It means that from the beginning, we're trying to find things that are extremely personal to both of us.
Right.
So that already we're sort of working in a sandbox that's some kind of shared part of the Venn diagram. And I'm sure that plays some role in the responses in the countries.
I'm coming from like pop writing background. I had to train myself to write lyrics in Korean. And like you were pointing out, Korean lyrics writing convention tends to be more relying on, finding ways to say things that are more poetic, a little more, beautiful than just like straightforwardly saying mundane, language. So I think that's the difference between Korean lyrics in our show, Korean lyrics and English lyrics. English lyrics, we have to, think about rhyming and stuff like that. So it is exciting and exhausting at the same time. As you can see, I'm still not a pro, at talking about, like lyric writing in the two different languages. But it has been rewarding too, because now we have audiences like, who speak the both languages and they love to talk about those things. So we are not alone anymore. So yeah, it has been very special.
Yeah, I think to your point, it's like when you go to that other place, you learn about where you were coming from. You sort of weren't aware of it. That until we started looking at the differences as we were working in both languages, that it sort of never occurred to me that maybe part of the reason, again, this is just a theory, this could be wrong, right? But what I currently believe is that part of the reason why American and English language lyrics work really well with mundane specifics and speech-like vocabulary is that the rhyming is so artificial. And structural rhymes are such a common integral part of songs that's already so artificial that you want to fight against that. Whereas Korean lyrics traditionally do not depend on structural rhymes. You can rhyme if you want, but it's not an expectation, it's not structural. Because of that, well, then it could just be talking. So you need something to make it poetic. So instead there are these other conventions that make it not everyday speech. And that was something I think both of us had not been conscious of. Obviously, we were operating maybe with those rules somewhere in the back of our minds, but it became conscious once we actually had to work on that.
Well, I mean, even getting to work with Will, we sort of represent each other's culture, but at the same time, we are individual. We're not like, collaborating literally representing the countries. You know what I mean?
Well, because you were a bit of like when I think about this adorable thing of your Ruichi Sakamoto fan club that had 5 members when you were a kid, like
Yeah, which is already super niche in.
like he couldn't find
my
anyone who liked the
culture.
things he liked as a kid, or certain Korean bands that other people wouldn't have known about.
And I mean, even when we were becoming friends, we both were idolizing this writer, Miranda July, but she's not necessarily, like
A
everyone's
typical
favorite,
mainstream
right?
American
we
writer.
just love
It's
the
just-
fact that we both were, like loving this more niche, artwork. And there was a reason that we really became like, I don't know, good friends and understanding each other artistically. So yeah, it is interesting that our, different backgrounds have been such catalysts for our collaboration. But at the same time, it's also a good reminder that, cross-cultural collaboration doesn't really only rely on the cultural difference. It's about understanding each other on the individual level. I think that's the biggest lesson that we learned.
We were asked this in Korea, where people were saying, what are the conditions whereby you can have this kind of collaboration? And we had to think about it. And I think that, to Hugh's point, we were able to meet in an environment by virtue of both being students. He was an international student. We met where we could simply meet. We were not being sent forth to meet as ambassadors, which meant that all of our cultural things were at play, but they were like operating in the background in certain ways. They would come to the fore when one of us wanted to bring them to the fore,
Yeah.
but they weren't. The environment allowed for this organic meeting of the minds and
Right.
artistic minds, and I think that was like really valuable. And I don't know how to replicate that, but I think students meeting is like a wonderful thing when people can meet organically like that and
Yeah.
develop those connections.
Oh,
Unison.
You can. Yeah,
No,
you
no,
can
please.
talk about it. No. So we have written 2 more shows. They both already, went on stage in Korea. So we are very excited to bring that here. That's our next goal.
The Spooky Show, the bakery.
The Spooky Show, and
Very-
especially the one about opera in 1930s Korea.
Il Tenor.
Yes,
Yeah.
so it's a tough sell, you might say, but we're very excited about
Yeah,
pursuing
24 Korean characters on stage and 1 American missionary. Yeah, so total 25 people on stage. So it's it's just a small show.
that. Right.